Hey everyone. So a couple of days ago, I had asked on my Instagram page if you guys wanted to see a mix breakdown of my latest song, and a lot of you guys voted yes. So let's get on with it. So I wrote this song for a school project, and it's basically a very post-rock and a post-metal inspired piece. So let's start with the hardest part of the mix and my personal favorite part to work with as well, which is the drums. So for this, I was using GGD's Invasion. Let's just see if that's the right one. Yep, as you can see, I was using the default Rocket. And there was a little bit of reverb on the master bus, which I think I rendered it out with the drum room because I wanted a little bit of a nice and reverb and room driven sound. But other than that, I just rendered it as it comes with the kit. So let's just see how it sounds first, and then I'll show you what I did with each of the elements. Right, Alright, so now let's disable every single thing, and you're gonna hear the drum sound as I rendered it out of the plugin. Alright. So while it is definitely not bad, it's not the greatest as well. The reason I actually went with GGD's Invasion is that I kind of wanted to get the feel of working with live drums, and this gets me pretty close there because with the raw samples, I can definitely tweak it a lot more than some of the more processed stuff. And I'd like to be able to actually work with it and try to mold it into a certain sound rather than trying to work with an already compressed and EQ'd snare or a kick. So let's start with the drum bus. What do we have here? So we have the Tal Reverb 2, and this is just a big wet plate, stock setting on the Reverb plugin, and I just driven up the wet knob a little bit just to give it that nice ambient roomy sound. So this is what it sounds like with it. Right, so you're already starting to see where that ambience is coming from. Then we have some master brass saturation and compression. So we have some parallel compression going on here. As you can see, the mix knob is about 16, I think there. So this is just typical. I'm trying to like over compress it a little bit with the with the parallel compression thing, and try to blend it in with the actual drum sound, so you can get a little bit more of that punch and attack while still retaining the original character of the drums. So I would usually go with a FET compressor here, but since the song is a little bit more laid back and ambient, I wanted a little bit more of an analog sound, so I decided to go with the optical compressor. As you can see, there's a VCA FET and an opto, and then there's just a little bit of saturation going on as well. And this is the Wave Sheps Omni channel. Great plugin, rather easy to use, and it sounds great. So this is what it sounds with that engaged. Right, so small difference. Now let's get on with the kick. Right, now let's enable this. Right, so boosting a little bit of low end here to get that thump, and a little bit in the low, like in the mid range as well. I think that's 1.7k. So there I thought it just needed a little bit of a boost to like cut through the mix. And with the second EQ, which is an analog EQ, I've got a high end boost and a little bit of boost in the high mids as well. So I've got this going, which I kind of want to kick to. It's hard to describe, but like a little bit of high end air will also make it like sit well in the mix and help it vibe with the actual atmosphere of the song, which is kind of laid back and slow and ambient. So that is what I wanted to bring out there. And then we have the snare. So this was a massive challenge. While the snares definitely don't sound bad as per se, to get them to sound the way they sound in this song took quite a lot of work, because I was listening to If These Trees Could Talk, and then there's another band, Indian band actually, I think, As We Keep Searching. Yeah. So there's a song called B303, and they have this really great drum sound on there. So I was trying to kind of get the snare to be a little bit similar to that, and basically it should have a nice crack, and it should have a lot of nice like high end. like the high-end smack that we're talking about, because that is what really sits in well with the ambience and kind of drives the song forward. So this is how it sounds without anything. Right, now let's just enable this. Yeah, that's a massive difference there. Exactly. So first up, we've got an EQ, little bit of low end boost, notching out some bad frequencies here. He was hearing quite a lot of ring, and this is for 3.5k. Just a little bit of a boost. So a lot of the time, I usually go in knowing what I'm gonna do. So which is first step is to notch out all the bad frequencies that I don't want, and the key is not to go crazy with these, but just to the point where like in the scope of the larger mix they're not bothering you, which is what I've tried to do. And then I try to see what character the snare is missing that I want, and I felt just lacked a little bit of low end to kind of bring up that power in the smack. And later on I wanted to boost the high end as well, because I want that high end crack like I was mentioning earlier. And with the second EQ, let's see what's going on here. This is about 900 kilohertz, so a little bit of a boost there. Quite a large boost at 8 kilohertz, one of my favorite frequencies to boost with the snare. It's a brilliant frequency. 100 kilohertz boost, again low end. So more of the same going on, but with an analog EQ, because I kind of like to take it with steps. You might get overwhelmed, or like you might kind of fool yourself that you're doing too much if you do it with just like one or two EQs. So what I find is if I do it one after one, I don't really fool myself into saying I'm doing too much or whatever, because it doesn't really matter what you do as long as you get to the final destination that you want to get to. And yeah, I really think it's something that I personally find pretty important, because I don't want to like get fooled or get caught up in this visual or graphic kind of representation that's fooling me into thinking I've done too much. Because if it sounds good, it sounds good, right? That's all there is to it. Then again, we've got a 5k boost, high mid. This one I actually brought up to bring out a little bit more aggression, and like basically all of this is just to get that snare to sit in like really well with the mix. Again, a substantial boost at 8k. Now we've got a boost at near 200 hertz. Again, this is one of my favorite frequencies to boost the snare, and as quite a lot of producers will tell you, this is something I learned from Jordan Valeriet, that this frequency actually it's almost like a secret sauce. It's magic. It works with almost every single snare that you use, and I'm not questioning it. It just sounded good, so I'm just going with that. Then yes, we have some saturation going on here. Again, saturation is something I use a lot on my snare. I don't know, it's just something I really like. I like what it does to a snare drum, and it's something I feel this snare required. And then we're hitting it with the waves LA2A emulation. So nothing crazy going on here. A little bit of peak reduction. Output gain is balanced accordingly, and I put this at the end. So now we're getting this sound. And now I know you're thinking it sounds a little bit crazy, a little bit extreme, but once I blend in the room, you're gonna understand why. We have the toms, nothing crazy going on here at all. Toms sounded brilliant right off the gate. I really did not need to do anything. Then I left an EQ there in case I wanted to make some changes, but I just honestly liked it the way it is sounding. And this song doesn't really even make use of that one, like it doesn't have that much prominent use of a tom drum anyway. And I figured why mess with something that's already sounding good, because in context of the song, what we really want is a nice reverby ambient big drum sound, and the toms are already contributing to that. So I felt we don't need to do anything here. It's a conscious decision. Here are the cymbals. Nothing crazy here, just cutting out the low end. Overheads, same thing, and a little bit of a cut over here because it's getting a little harsh. What is that? Yeah, high wind, around 5.3k. And now my favorite part of this thing. Now notice how this drum sound changes. Yeah, because post-rock drum sounds are usually quite room sound driven, and I think this is something that I found with a lot of my favorite drum sounds. It's driven by the room. And when you have a plugin with a great sounding drum room, why would I not take advantage of that? I felt I wanted the room sound to really drive the song forward, and I think it's doing that. In terms of processing, I've got what do you call CLA 76, the 1176 emulation. Uh, so nothing like crazy going on here, just standard. I took the basic start me up settings and just tweaked it a little bit. I think I changed it from a 4:1 to 8:1 ratio, and yeah, that's pretty much it. In terms of EQ, there were a couple of places where it's getting rather boomy and like there were a couple of annoying frequencies. But other than that, after just notching those out, I just left it alone because it was sounding good. And here is the completely fully realized drum sound. So if you notice the snare, right, it's getting a lot of body from the room. So when you begin this in, that high-end crack is like fully matured and realized. That is something that I thought was pretty cool, because elements of the kit obviously complement each other. So that is something else. We have the rhythm guitars here, distorted. So I'm a big Audio Salt fanboy, so using the HM 5050 simulation. This is on the lead channel. Gain, bass, middle all turned up, treble turned a little bit down to avoid some harshness, presence turned up. Typical drive settings, nothing new there. We got a noise gate. I'm not using this cab. Yeah, I'm using this, which is GGD's Studio Cabs Cali edition, Cali V30, using the stock preset, which is just the massive cab in the SM57. I think it sounded good for this release, so just let it be. Standard EQ, nothing crazy going on here. Kind of rolling off some low end, rolling off some high end. With the second EQ, yeah, there's nothing really going on here. I think I kept it on in case I wanted to add something else to the guitar sound, but I didn't really end up doing anything there. And we got a reverb. So I usually don't add reverbs to my rhythm guitars, but this is really a rhythm guitar. It's more like a layer, and you'll see now. So it's quite low in the mix as well, so it's just there to provide atmosphere, which is why I just thought I'd leave it in, and it helps it fit in a little bit more. Then we've got leads. Stomp, typical AHM again. Similar settings, most of the things in the middle. I just have the gain turned up a bit. Cab again off. Yeah, same this thing cab as well. I'd usually use a different cab for leads, but this one I thought fit in well. Typical settings, I went a little bit more aggressive with the low end cut here because I want the leads to sit nice and well in the middle of the mix. One of my favorite delay plugins. It's a little bit extreme, but it's post rock, and again, for that ambient spacey vibe, this is what I felt sounded nice. So this is probably my favorite delay plugin on the planet. It's a free plugin, Valhalla Supermassive. Yeah, it's just bloody brilliant. I don't really have to change all that much to get it to what I want to be. This is the Baby Audio's Magic Switch. It's just a chorus plugin, and it's basically just a one knob chorus. As you can see, I just have it not too high up, but enough to give the lead a little bit of flavor. And here is just the Dead Duck Audio Flanger. Again, it's an effect I like to use on lead guitars. It just helps it sit in better. And then we have the first set of clean guitars, which are sort of pushed cleans. So AHM as usual, clean channel, and with the tubes we turned it to the 6L6. Gain is, so again, standard stuff. Here we have the drive pedal on, with the drive is at 0 and tones at 3.8, and only the levels turned up, so it's just giving a little bit of a treble boost, but not that much. It's just to give it a little bit of that push sound. We're going with the same cab configuration here. Similar EQ, just notched out a frequency I didn't like over there. We've got a different delay setting here. We got a delay that is lower than it was on the leads, in terms of the delay time in milliseconds, and the mix knob is also significantly lower, because this is the main arpeggio and I wanted to have clarity, and this is basically one of the main themes of the song, and I wanted this to be prominent and not to get lost in terms of the delay. Again, chorus and flanger, same thing as the leads. I thought it fit in well. And there are multiple layers as well. This song is one that depends a lot on layers. Alright, so this is another set of clean leads and layers. Yeah, this one's crazy. So here we don't have much going on. Oh yeah, we have this thing just on the standard setting. You have the clean channel on the audio salt sigma. Low end is boosted quite a lot. Gain is boosted, bass is boosted, mids are boosted, trebles are lowered. Treble is lowered, and the presence is also boosted. Thought it fit. Oh yeah. This is the audio salt sigma update, and this is fantastic. You can actually move the microphones around, and I thought this cab kind of suited and fit in with what I was trying to achieve, which is why I kept it. You can even change the blend between microphones and even add in your own IRs. It's bloody brilliant. Yep, so we have all of these on here. I just decided to do most of the EQ work on here by myself. Chorus is running. We have the delay running with a 1/8 time setting, sync to the BPM of 120. I tried syncing it to the BPM of the song, didn't really work, but with this it seems to work. I don't know why it works. It was something I just tried as an experiment, but it works. So that's all there is to it. Feedback is turned up all the way up, which is why we're getting a lot of those reflections again and again, which might sound a little off or a little bit disturbing right now, but in context of the mix and at the appropriate volume, I think it works like a charm. The width is set to be quite high, and the mix is also fairly high considering how much delay I'm actually having. And then we have some reverb going on there as well. Yep. Alright, then we have my fake bass guitar. This is something I typically do with my demos and stuff. I won't do it on an official release now, because with the next album we're going really professional, but this is just something I did for a school project and decided to share. Yeah, so this is what I did. I don't have a bass guitar yet. We'll probably end up getting one in the near future. So again, just down by an octave, because I was playing the notes on my telly and on my guitar, and pitch shifting it to sound like a bass. The TSE board, nothing crazy going on here. The black salt audio escalator, again I haven't even done anything with this. I usually use this in case of death metal or a thrash metal mix, when I really want the bass to sound aggressive and mean, but this time I didn't really need it. I think I forgot to remove it, but I'll just let it be there for now. And this is my secret sauce. So this is an extremely old amp by Audio Salt. It's called the Dominator, and I don't know what it does, but it works a wonder on bass guitar. Gives it that rumble and just cutting off some high end over here. And if you see how that blends in, especially with this section, it just sits in well. I thought it was a little bit too distorted for the song, but I don't think it is now. Earlier I thought it might have been, and I might have to change the gain. It's just fitting in really well now. Just something I just thought sounds cool. Besides, that setting is something I use for all of my demos and all the short clips that I keep putting on Instagram and stuff. So it's cool. And here we have nothing. We just have Spitfire Labs with the various orchestral elements I'm using, which gets a little bit busy. So yeah, that's one. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Got quite a lot of elements repeating the same idea to give it atmosphere and get that to sit in. And the brilliant thing is the Spitfire Labs orchestral instruments all sound incredible, so there's honestly not much I really have to do to get them to sit in. They just work, which is something I find to be really cool. And then what I base the entire song off, the rain sounds. I didn't do anything to this. I just wanted to be natural and just sit in correctly, and I think it did. Overall, quite happy with the song and the way it turned out. Even with the production, it's quite a fun challenge and something I really enjoyed. Finally, we have my master bus. We have some bus compression going on. Slow attack. Medium-ish release. A little bit on the faster side. 2:1 ratio, not much compression going on. Just notching out some bad frequencies in the mix. So this is something I typically do. I don't cut out a lot of it because I know it's gonna impact the entire mix, but there are frequencies in the mix that I'm not liking. Just cut them out a little bit just to get them to sound smoother, like how a mastering engineer would do. Then that's the same purpose I have for having this analog EQ. So if there's any frequency I want to boost, I want to have a gentle top end boost or something, that's what I would usually do. But with this mix, I didn't feel it was necessary. This is just my general master bus chain. I just imported it on here. Isotope vinyl with a 90 and 80 setting, something I like. And I don't remember why I did this. This is something I did earlier and I was making my master bus chain, but it just works. Some gentle saturation. Isotope neutron 3 elements. So I just have this going on right now. An equalizer, a little bit of a cut in the low end and a boost on the top end. So yeah, so basically the purpose of having the analog EQ is somewhat removed, but it is what it is. And then lastly, this is something I usually don't have on there. It's just Restream. This is to stream the audio from the DAW to OBS, through which I'm recording the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was pretty fun talking about my process of producing this song. And if you guys want your songs mixed or mastered by me, feel free to hit me up. Check out my website in the description below. And yeah, let's make something awesome, man. All right. Until next time, cheers and keep it metal.